Well, I think the first question to ask you would be to know what you've been doing all those 3 years since we met.
Well, for 3 years we've been working on our film called Faces, and the film is finally finished and ready to be shown. It has been shown in several instances, and we just simply don't know what we're going to do with it yet. Also, been working on different acting parts, mainly to make enough money to pay for the film, but secondarily to have a good time while we're doing it, and to fulfill some other function in my life besides working in a cutting room.
It's good. It's having a good time for you to play in a picture.
Yes. When I was a boy, I used to see Jimmy Cagney and Bogart and all those actors, and I think, God, what a wonderful life they had. And then to have that opportunity to be there in front of people, in front of a camera, and to be able to express yourself and be paid for it, and to have people that are making films come up to you and treat you as if you are a person that will go in front of the screen and say things, and have some responsibility to an audience, I think it's exciting. Yeah, I enjoy it.
So you never think of becoming only a director?
No, I don't. I don't even think of myself as a director. As a matter of fact, I think I'm probably one of the worst directors around. But I do have an interest in my fellow man, and so that the material, I think that we come by, and I say we come by, everyone that goes into a film that I have anything to do, that I'm in charge of, is creative to the point where they can express themselves, and they feel that they can contribute. As a matter of fact, in Faces, I can honestly say that the film would never have been completed, and it took 3 years to complete, if it wasn't for everyone's total interest in the human problem, not in the film problem. Film is, to me, just unimportant, but people are very important.
The fact of doing it, of making it, which is important.
The fact of, I feel the world is very chicken, very chicken. By chicken, I mean that the world is too tight. And people get all upset over things that really don't matter, like politics and religion and things like that. They take offense at things to such a great degree that they miss the good times. And the good times are probably more important than any bad time that can ever happen. And yet we spend so much time on bad times, and so little time on the human behavior.
I'm really not very happy. I mean, I'm happy, but I'm not as happy as everybody thinks I am.
Why not?
Oh, because I feel that I should be farther ahead than I am. You know, everything is passing me by, and...
How old are
Since
you?
I got 20.
I'd never guessed.
Oh, stop, don't laugh. I'm serious. I have the feeling that I'll never, be smart, and I'm never going to get the things that I want. And, oh...
What do you feel like? Tell me what you feel like.
I feel like I'm in
In a cocoon and you can't get out?
That's right. How did you know? I didn't think boys were supposed to understand things like that. You see, I am far behind.
Behind who?
Now you sound like David.
I hope not.
Why not? David is one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life.
But not very romantic.
No, he's not very romantic.
You know, I'm not a very nice person. I mean, I have very romantic inclinations. Be forewarned that I'm not one of these storybook characters that's supposed to be all noble and righteous. When I see someone I like, and if she likes me, we accept my romantic inclinations. Do you happen to know where we are right now?
No?
That's where I live. Right there, number 7. Come on up for a drink. Where you're beautiful.
On the whole, do you agree with the American way of living?
Well, there are many American ways of living.
Well, what's supposed to be the American way of living?
Well, America is a big country with a lot of different geography. In a seaport, people live differently than in a valley, in a farm area, or they live differently than they do in a rocky area. It's got a lot of different geography and a lot of different time changes and ways and cultural background, the background of different people. There are places all over America that some places are German, some places are Swedish, some places are Italian, some places are French. And it's a country that has really no basic nationality of its own. It's a country of many, many different people. Sometimes they band together and they make a community. Making a film in America is a difficult thing because it's a very complicated country. And to talk about the people or the social problems, there isn't any clean-cut social problem today. The problems are manifest, but they're all human problems. And today, the people in the world, all over the world, have inherited the disease, first of feeling that economy is the answer to their lives' problems, and then, secondly, they feel that intellectualism is an answer to the problems. And the point is that we don't know everything, and it's impossible to know anything, because if you were in a room full of books, a library, there's no way that you could read every book in the world. If you lived 7 lifetimes, you couldn't, 20 lifetimes, 1,000 lifetimes. And so people have a little bit of knowledge, and they feel that it's very important that they can be very fluent in a problem that exists. For instance, there isn't an American in America, or probably a person in the world that doesn't feel that they know what is wrong with our country in terms of the black-white situation in our country. I think if we're analyzed, I don't think anyone really knows what it is, including the Negroes and the whites that are actually militantly participating.
You want a drink? Me to get you a drink?
No, thanks. I don't drink.
You'll find that's good for what ails you. Just pull yourself together, because you're not kidding anybody but yourself. You know, you have your sense of values all mixed up, so I can just have a drink. Just have to.
No, don't touch me.
Come on, just a little taste.
Let me go! Let me! Come on, let me go! Let me go! What the hell is wrong with that guy?
What's wrong with you? We have to get carried away.
What's wrong with him?
You have to fight every day. You have to fight every day to keep your sanity and stop from censoring yourself, because in censoring yourself you have no one else to blame. And what happens to artists is that it's not that somebody is standing in their way, it's that their own selves are standing in their ways. And the whole idea, to me and to the people that we work with, is to find some kind of personal truth, some kind of revelation. That's why when we try to work on a story, we work on a story that has some kind of a meaning that we don't quite understand.
Yes, but where did you take the idea from?
What idea?
Shadows.
Shadows? Yeah, Shadows was we had a workshop. And in this workshop, there were a lot of people that came in off the streets. I had originally formed this workshop because I had a lot of out-of-work friends who were actors. When I rented this workshop for a year, none of those friends came because I wanted them to do scenes so that producers and directors could come down and watch them, not as a school. But no one showed up, and I had this place for a year. So I put an ad in the New York Times, and I said, anybody that wants to come down and use a workshop to work on acting, come on down. And the next day, the place was mobbed with people. And they were all amateur people, like pickpockets and lawyers, bankers, policemen, students, people off the streets who just wanted to come down and work.
Oh, come on. So you finally made it.
No sweat, man, no
Look at
sweat.
you, I got some bad news.
Train move?
No. No? I checked with our telephone service and there's no point in us going to Cincinnati because the job is closed out.
What about Chicago?
It's still there.
So what happened?
Ackerman called Cincinnati at his own expense and told them that you were being difficult.
So?
So that means no Cincinnati. So that means that we go to Chicago for a week's billing and come back here and maybe some cheap, mangy club owner will give us a job. Introducing the girly line. Or maybe you can sing to a room full of drunks. Look, we've been in this business for a long time. I'm supposed to be a manager, and you're supposed to be a singer, right? Now, who have I ever managed? Besides you. And what have you ever done? The best job that I've ever been able to get for you is in a Black Rose in Tucson, Arizona. Boy,
Wait a minute, baby. Wait.
No, I've had this rat race. I've had it. I'm busted. I've been insulted by these pigs, laughed at, and what's in it? For you or for me? Look, we gotta be fair. Let's do so in our own city or get the hell out of here.
Out of where, man?
Here, the States. We'll go to Paris, France, Africa. I don't care.
It's gonna be the same no matter where we go.
Look, I have had this.
Rupert, wait a minute! Wait a minute! You believe in me? Rupert, you believe in me? I don't mean what those other people think of me. I mean what we give each other. You know, what comes out of both of us. Your talent, my voice.
Now, when you're on time, you're still not on time.
Rupert, do you believe this? Because, Rupert, I believe that you're the greatest manager in the world. And we're together. Rupert, you're the greatest manager in the world.
Don't you like shadows?
Don't I like Shadows?
Yeah.
I love Shadows, and I think it's a terrific film. It has so much more going for it than a lot of other films because it was a film about young people. And young people are so much easier to talk about than older people because young people are willing to express themselves and take chances and lose and get killed. They can race cars, or they can find love in things, and they can find hatred in things, and all their terms are absolute. So they're easy to talk about. A middle-aged person is not easy to talk about because he doesn't know himself. He'll change from one moment to the next. We don't even know what changes a middle-aged person. I mean, it may be a mood, it may be something that happened 10 years ago or something that will happen 10 years from now when he dies. You know? But we don't know, so it's much more difficult.
Ready? Make the announcement.
Girls, the Happiness Boys singing Up on the Moonbeam. Girls, the Happiness Boys. Up on the moonbeam. Up on the moonbeam.
Boom, boom, boom.
Up on the moonbeam. Up on the moonbeam.
Hit it, boys.
What makes my head go round and round while my heart stands still?
Hey, man. Come on, hey, Benny. Hey, what's going on? Easy. Take it easy.
We're with these girls. So what's the story?
What do you guys doing here?
We just came in here, we're clowning around, that's all.
Clowning around?
We'll go clown around somewhere else, huh, buddy?
Well, take it
We're
easy.
with these
We're only
girls.
kidding around. So are we. Shut up, punk.
Hey, wait a minute.
What do you mean, take it easy?
Well, I mean, take it easy. We don't want to take it
Hands off, buddy.
Yeah, we don't want to.
All right, come on, buddy.
Well, take your hands off me.
See,
We imitate somebody
now.
now.
Let's get out of here.
We're only kidding around, buddy.
All right, come on.
Come on, man. Don't get excited. Now, listen for a second. You want to fight for it?
Buddy, just get your hands off it. You want to tangle ass? Let's go. Come on.
I've read somewhere that you collected the money of shadows from the people in the street.
John, we went on a radio program. And on this radio program, we were talking about films and what should be done with films. And this man said, wouldn't it be wonderful if people would finance films?
Who said it?
Gene Shepard. This man had a program called Gene Shepard's Night People. It started at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I said, yeah, it'd be terrific. We'd make a film if people would finance us that way. We'd just get right on, and he said, if everyone sent in $1, it would be wonderful. The next day, $2,000 in dollar bills came in the mail to our studio. And we were committed to start a film. And we took what was an improvisation, part of an improvisation, and we started to make a film. But it wasn't a film in the sense of a film, it was a film in a series of scenes. And the scenes were predicated on a Negro family in New York. And the actors that we took were marvelous in that we worked for 4 months. And when we got through, I was an actor who had gotten behind the camera and decided to be like all people on the first film, that this is magic and a magic instrument, and I was going to use it marvelously and shoot just impressions of what people said and impressions of what people were, rather than shooting inside the people. And I did this, and we all did it for 4 months. At the end of 4 months, I went to a theater owner friend of mine, and I said, look, we want to show our film, and we can fill this theater tonight. I mean, if we just start tonight, we can fill the theater. So he gave us the theater. It was the Paris Theater in New York. And 600 people filled that theater, and we turned away another 400 people at the door. About 15 minutes into the film, the people started to leave, and they left. And they left. And I began perspiring, and the cast was getting angry. We all sat closer and closer together. And pretty soon, there wasn't anyone in the theater. I think there was one critic in the theater. One critic who was a friend of ours who walked over to us and said, this is the most marvelous film I've ever seen in my life. And I said, I don't want to hit you right now. So I'm a little uptight. Not feeling too hot, and none of us are. So he said, no, this is really a very good film. So like all failures, you get a sense of humor about it, and you go out and spend the night when it's bad enough. And this was so bad that it couldn't be repaired. But I'm very stubborn, and Nico Papadakis, who helped us make the film, was very stubborn. And I said, how much money do you have, Nico? And he said, I have $2,000. I can get it from France, and maybe it'll take a week. I said, fine, sign the check. And I raised $13,000 the next day, and we started shooting again. And we shot for 10 days. And the result of the film was the final version of Shadows. Now, a lot of film buffs heard about the 2 versions of Shadows, so they said, we want to see the first version, which was the great version of Shadows. It didn't matter to them that it was an absolute disaster. So we showed that first version of Shadows, and they championed it. They thought it was great. Now, rumors spread that I had made the film for distribution, and that because we had gone back to make it more commercial. But the film was, in my opinion, always will be. The other version exists. And outside of one screening that we had, the film was allowed to be shown at any time, and the version exists. But the second version of Shadows was much deeper, and I think the greatest scenes in it, I mean, the best scenes in the film were shot in the reshooting in a 10-day period, which has to tell you something, because it took us 4 months to shoot the other version. And it was quite different with Faces. Faces was an entirely different thing. This was now 9 years later, 8 years later. We had all grown a little older, a little more mature. It's not as easy to jump in as you were telling me before. You could, it would be difficult to go back to the beginnings, but sometimes it's necessary for your own sanity to go back to the beginning and go back to where you started from and find out whether you really have it or you don't have it, or whether there really is something to say or not. And when we started this film, none of us really had very much to say. And now, here it took us over 3 years to make Faces, and at the end of the film we have many things to say. So it only shows that that creativity, that solid creativity, no matter what it is, creates more things, more ideas. It doesn't dissipate itself in one. We went through that film, and Jenna was my wife, was in the film. She was pregnant during the film, and it was difficult. And our other leading lady was pregnant during the film, so that was difficult. And since we finished the film, the other girl, Lynn Carlin, had 2 children from the day that we finished the film until the completion of the editing of the film. And many things happened on that film. For instance, I wrote a first draft, and the first draft was 200 pages long, 265 pages long, and it was only halfway completed. And we filmed it. And we decided that we'd film if it would take 10 hours to film, that's the film that we were going to make. And that was the film that we were happy with. So we filmed it, and filmed it, and filmed it, and filmed it, and shot for 6 months on that film. And people, it became more than just a film, it became a way of life. It became a feeling against the authority that stood, in the way of people expressing themselves as they wanted to express themselves. And it became a thing that we can do that in America. We can do that without money in America. We started that film with $10,000. That film has cost well over $200,000. Now, in between times, I've paid for the film by going out and making 5 films. I've become an actor because of that film. I hadn't made a picture in 6 years.
It's a nice place you got here.
And,
Thank you. It's 27 years old.
The people that sacrificed, I know one man hasn't seen his wife for 1.5 years. Now, he's still going out to California while I'm over here making money, so that we can go ahead and not distribute the film and not take the first offer that comes by, but really do what we want with the film. So if we want to give it away to universities, we will do that. If we want to bury the film and never let anyone see it, we can do that. In other words, it's ours. So that if it plays in a festival, fine. If it doesn't play in a festival, fine. If people love it, fine. If they don't, okay too. But what happens is that everyone that was in this film, there were over 300 people involved, can go on with the knowledge that it can be done. Not so much that the film can be a great film or a bad film or a mediocre film, but the idea that it can happen, that people can go out with nothing and through their own will and through their determination make something that exists out of nothing, out of no technical know-how, no equipment. There wasn't one technician on the entire film. There wasn't anybody that knew how to run a camera. Walked in and started to read the directions of how to reload it. Got a moviola and looked at it. Did all the things in the world, and we made 8 million mistakes. But it was exciting and fun.